Francis's funeral, a particularly special moment was unexpectedly recalled. Nearly 10 years ago, during a historic meeting with Queen Elizabeth II, the Pope presented a unique assumed it was just another kind and symbolic exchange, like many others between world leaders. But in hindsight, this symbolism served. His funeral took place in St. Peter's Square, where more than 200,000 people gathered to say their final goodbyes. Picture it. World leaders from every corner of the globe were there. Presidents, kings, queens, and princes. For a brief moment, politics, faith, and tradition came together to honor one remarkable man. Naturally, royal families were in attendance too. Nearly every European monarchy sent representatives to pay their respects. So, who exactly was there? Let me walk you through it. First to arrive that morning were King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain. They stood silently before the Pope's casket, and you could feel the gravity of the moment. Their connection with Pope Francis went back years, even before they became king and queen, back when they were still the Prince and Princess of Asturias. Although Spain never hosted a papal visit during his time, their relationship with him was strong and respectful. After the Pope's passing, King Felipe sent heartfelt condolences and, along with Queen Sophia, signed the official condolence book. Next came Queen Mary of Denmark, attending alone as King Frederick was on an official visit to Japan. She took her seat in the front row, dressed in traditional black out of respect. Queen Mary had met Pope Francis back in 2018, so for her, this was a deeply personal moment. From Sweden, King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia also arrived. Queen Sylvia wore a classic black headscarf, graceful and dignified. They spoke fondly of Pope Francis, recalling his historic visit to Lund, where Catholics and Lutherans came together in a rare and powerful moment of unity. Prince Haakon and Princess Mette-Marit represented Norway. It was touching to see Mette-Marit there, despite her health struggles, making the journey in black attire with a mantilla shawl, showing how significant this farewell was. Grand Duke Henri and Grand Duchess Maria Theresa of Luxembourg were also present. Just as Queen Elizabeth once sent Charles to Pope John Paul II's funeral, now William was there. Representing not only their family but the entire United Kingdom, from Monaco, Prince Albert and Princess Charlene took their seats, both dressed in black. Monaco even declared 3 days of mourning after the Pope's passing, reflecting the depth of their respect for him. Albert spoke eloquently about the Pope's message of love and justice. Even King Abdullah II and Queen Rania of Jordan were present. Although Jordan is not a Catholic nation, that didn't matter. They attended with deep respect. The Belgian royals, King Philippe and Queen Mathilde, also came to pay their respects, recalling the Pope's humility and his constant concern for the less fortunate. Others were present too, like Emanuele Filiberto of Savoy and Prince Carlo of Bourbon to sit goodbye to a pope is unlike any other funeral. There are ancient, strict protocols, and for royalty, hit that subscribe button to code was strictly black or dark colors. No bright hues, no bold statements. Women were required to wear long or knee-length dresses with long sleeves, paired with simple, elegant, yet modest, a graceful yet solemn look for the Pope himself. Queens like Letizia this time, despite having worn it during past Vatican visits. And shoes, even those are there to stand out. They were there to grieve. It's a striking and poignant detail. No cameras, no meeting had been called. On that day, as you looked across the royal seats, everyone adhered to an unspoken rule, setting aside titles, crowns, and status. They weren't there to stand out. They were there to grieve. It's a striking and poignant detail that just days before Pope Francis's passing, King Charles and his wife Camilla had an unscheduled meeting with him. In fact, it was widely believed that the meeting had been called off due to the Pope's serious illness. He had just recovered from a life-threatening battle with pneumonia and had spent weeks in the hospital. King Charles himself wasn't in perfect health. The meeting lasted around 20. There was even an exchange of gifts. Some believe this meeting was merely a polite gesture, while others see it as something more symbolic. A final conversation where Pope Francis might have shared wisdom or offered advice to guide Charles as a king, or almost sacred. In 2014, Queen Elizabeth II herself met Pope Francis. Queen Elizabeth II lived longer and reigned longer than most leaders of her time, witnessing presidents, kings, and prime ministers come and go. Yet, one type of messages that only two figures of such stature could truly comprehend. It all began in 1951, when Elizabeth was still a young princess, not yet queen, when she met Pope Pius V in Rome. Then, in 1961, as queen, she met Pope John XXIII at the Apostolic carried. Found them. Course recipes that are adjusted. April 3rd greeted Pope Francis with the simple words, "Sorry to keep you waiting. We were having a very enjoyable lunch." The two most iconic figures in the world sat down for a time silence. Alongside the honey was a gift and own globe with a crucifix, rather than a simple toy or blessing. Some believe it wasn't just a gift. It was a message, a quiet spiritual reminder for the future king. Only now do we begin to truly understand what that moment meant. That day in Rome ended quietly, just as it had begun. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip continued. A small gift for baby Prince George is now seen as something leaving promises unfulfilled, which is why she was determined to meet Pope Francis. After his passing, a simple moment from 2014 took on an entirely new significance. What once seemed like a charming gesture, the gift Pope Francis gave was no coincidence. Authority, not control, and supreme king of what gathered in St. Peter's Square, surrounded by royalty and dignitaries. People began to see, but as a call for leadership through humility, faith, and captivating tales. Don't know your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to the